Today we're talking about Kymera Therapeutics and their IPO, which looks to kick off trading on Friday. Plus, I'll also give some updates on the 3 IPOs we covered earlier in the week, including some analysis on how I look at which of the 3 might be the best in my personal opinion. So stay tuned for IPO This Week's Midweek Edition. Welcome back to Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, where we continue our laser-like focus on all of the IPOs that come out. Today will be a middle of the week update from this week's IPO This Week episode, where we'll talk about a late addition to this week's calendar, Kymera Therapeutics. But before we get into this new IPO, let's start with some brief updates on the 3 other companies we talked about earlier this week. If you missed this week's episode, definitely check it out for a more thorough overview of these companies. I'll link it for you in the description. First up is Harmony Biosciences, who began trading today under the ticker HRMY. Harmony is the biotech company we talked about that already has a product on the market called Wakix, which is used to treat narcolepsy. In fact, it's one of only 7 medications approved to treat the condition and the only one not to be scheduled as a controlled substance. Demand of the company's IPO resulted in the offering being upsized to an additional 600,000 shares, with pricing coming in at $24 above the $20 to $23 target range. Out of the gate, the stock traded just under $40 per share. Then we also had Inhibrx starting its public trading today under the ticker INBX. Inhibrx is another biotech, but unlike Harmony, who has a product selling on the market, their pipeline is in much earlier stages. The company's mission is in targeting treatments for different types of cancer. Pricing was set yesterday at $17, which was the midpoint of what it had previously proposed. However, they raised more money than was anticipated as the offering was upsized by 1 million more shares. When public trading started today, the stock was trading up at $22.10. And then we also talked about Nano-X Imaging earlier this week. Right now we're still waiting for the official IPO to happen, most likely with pricing being set tomorrow, with trading to begin on Friday as we originally anticipated. Once it goes public, it will trade under the symbol NNOX, so nothing new with Nano-X at this point. After I released last week's video, I was asked in the comments which of those 3 stocks I like best. Now, I always qualify my response by saying that I'm not recommending for anyone to make any moves based on my thoughts because, as you know, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm also not able to predict the future, which isn't fair. But to share my opinion on how I look at those 3 IPOs, I really wasn't enamored with any of them. Now, I did pick which one I would prefer of the 3, which probably won't come as a surprise to those who have watched the channel for a while, and that pick was Harmony Biosciences. And I made those comments on Monday before the trading began, so none of that hindsight is 2020 stuff. The reason I went with Harmony is because it's already got a product out there making money, and it looks to expand what it can be used for to potentially make even more money with it. The reservation I had with them was not that I don't think it's a good company, but that it seemed to be priced at a premium market cap for what the company currently is. Now, the demand was obviously there when the pricing was set, and then it jumped out of the gate, so we'll see what happens. As far as Inhibrx and Nano-X, my concern is that they aren't making any money right now, and in the case of Inhibrx, that could be years away, with them being an early stage biotech. And that's not an indictment against them, it's just the nature of where they are in their development. Nano-X still has to get their product approved by the FDA, and then has to overcome the ubiquity of X-ray technology and explain why their product should be given a shot. And it may end up being a much superior product, but it will take time and huge marketing dollars to hopefully become a success. And even if their Nanox system ends up being better than X-rays, who is going to stop using the X-ray machines they already spent a ton of money on? And on top of that, having to purchase a new system. Especially when the norm is getting an X-ray, and that's not likely to change anytime soon. Anyway, I hope this little bit of analysis gives you a better idea on how I look at companies when making a decision on whether to buy them or not. I would love to hear your thoughts on my reasoning of how I came up with Harmony and which of the 3 you would prefer and why. Okay, moving on. We have our new IPO to talk about for this week, Kymera Therapeutics, ticker KYMR. Let's see if this company can unseat my personal choice of Harmony as my personal pick of the week. The company is a preclinical biotech that plans to raise $125 million at a $772 million market cap. The early stage biotech focuses on developing treatments for skin and immune system conditions, including atopic dermatitis, a medical condition that makes your skin red and itchy, generally caused by exposure to allergens such as pollen and also by stress, dry skin, and infection. The global market for atopic dermatitis was slightly over $4 billion in 2016, and according to a global data research report, is expected to grow to $18.3 billion by 2027. I just want to emphasize that the biotech is at a preclinical stage for its pipeline, meaning that they have not entered into any phase 1 trials. That means they are even behind where Inhibrx is in their development. So at this point, we really have no data on how their candidates are progressing. And it goes without saying that they have no sales or revenue at this point, and it could be years before they do, and that's assuming that at least one of their candidates are successful in the lengthy clinical trial and approval process. The majority of the proceeds from the IPO will go to advancing its pipeline, consisting of 3 clinical phase 1 trials. Chimera looks to have its IPO on Thursday, with pricing expected to be set in a range of $16 to $18, with its public trading to debut alongside NanoX on Friday. Alright, so take a guess. Do you think Chimera will overtake Harmony as my pick of the week? I'll give you 10 seconds for you to think it over. And if you guess quickly and have a little time left over, definitely use that time to be sure to hit that like button. Okay, answer in? Alright, obviously no. It won't overtake Harmony for me. There's just too many unknowns with the company because of the stage of development they're at. They could have the most well-oiled machine in their operations, but even under the most optimal of conditions, they are so far away in bringing anything to market that the risk is too high for me. I think with biotechs in early stages like this, you can keep an eye on them for a while and see how they progress without jumping in on day one. It's just so unlikely that if you miss out on day one, that you won't have an opportunity for a better price down the line. And you also won't have to tie your money up for a significant amount of time before the company starts producing something to push the stock higher. Remember, these are just my personal thoughts. You should always do what's best for you. I respect everyone's decision to make the move that they feel is best for them. Okay, let's wrap it here for today. We'll be back again early next week for IPO This Week, where we'll look at the upcoming companies going public, and that now includes our newest coverage on upcoming SPACs. If you want to be sure to get that information as soon as it's released, you'll want to turn on that notification bell. If you don't see that bell, it's probably because you haven't subscribed yet, so do that first. After all, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss out on hearing about the next Amazon or Tesla. Plus, it's free. So with that, have a good rest of your week. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a great day.